I've previously made videos about my Whelen 9622 Edge Duplex Lightbar, and I've explained that it's fully optioned out, and there's no more room for factory options. There are, however, two areas in the back where there would be room for options, but we are out of power supply outlets, and you can't stack halogen options in a duplex. Or so I thought. Then I got this reply to my video from someone I trust about light bars saying he had a similar bar and had flashers in that position. So I checked the literature and I could find no mention of it. In fact, under option placement, it says there are no options available for this bar, which got me kind of thinking. Then I found this. This is an insert for the rear of that light bar with halogen over halogen. And it appears factory. It has factory Whelen standoffs, and it does not appear to be an aftermarket build. So I went ahead and mimicked the build with parts I had, turning it from the top to the bottom, and went about figuring out what I was going to do next, because I started out like the top and ended up like the bottom, which gave me essentially one extra pair of halogen flashers to the rear of the bar, this case in amber. What do I do with them? I've been told there's bleed over from putting halogen on top of halogen, so I was concerned that making them standalone flashers would cause problems. So at first I thought maybe I just make them part of the aero bar. That would be an interesting way to incorporate them. And it does do something. I think it makes that end of the arrow a little bit more visible, if you will, the double stack. But I'm not sure that it's really that effective or if it's a good use of the real estate. If you have your traffic advisor on an end flash pattern, you do get the double flash. But then when you put it in flash mode, you don't even use all of the double stacked modules. So you're not really making full use of it. So that kind of left me wondering, should they just be flashers? Will that work? Is there too much bleed over? So I flopped them into double flash flashers, and it doesn't seem to affect the lower arrow stick. They seem relatively visible, and I think that's the route we're going to go. So I took a look at some other options, how we were going to do this. I could have gone single flash with them, but this bar's front flashers were already double flash, so it kind of stood to reason. But will the arrow bleed into the flashers? Without the flashers on, yeah, a little bit. That lower arrow, there's a little bit of bleed into the flashers. But is it really that big a deal? I don't think so. Not to the point where I think it's a time to call the project off anyway. So that meant it was time to figure out what type of arrow pattern I actually wanted to use or would look good with double flash halogen flashers above it. And the control box I have for the arrow stick actually has a variety of patterns, and I'm not really sure which one I think takes away from or adds to the halogen arrow stick, the halogen flashers the best. I like grouped or sequential, but I'm also partial to the single chase with the end flash. A lot of it was going to have to do with how it looked on a center out and whether or not it ruined anything if you caught a simultaneous end flash. So I ended up kind of liking this chase on, chase off sort of pattern, and I thought I would probably keep it that way. I didn't want to do the full light up and then turn off, but I wasn't really sure if it mattered at all, to be quite honest. That's when I thought of something else. About when we put the arrow stick into flash mode. Most flash modes for most arrow stick patterns are double flash. My flashers were already also double flash. I think that looks terrible. They're not synchronized. They kind of detract from one another, and it's just a confusing look. So that leaves me with the option of, do I make the flashers of the bar single flash, or do I switch the arrow stick pattern to be single flash in warning mode and leave the double flash flashers, which is what I did. Choosing an arrow stick pattern where the warn mode is a slow single flash nicely contrasts the more rapid double flash flashers. And it turned out it wasn't so much the arrow pattern that mattered, it was the warn pattern, which is often the one most used on an arrow stick, that I think mattered the most. So we can do a little bit more comparison here, and you can decide for yourself. I'm not putting the flashers themselves on single flash, so the choices are going to be everything on double flash or the arrow stick on single flash, and the flashers on double flash, which is what I prefer. And I think that's the way I'm going to leave it. But we did solve a few things. It doesn't bleed through. It doesn't look terrible. It does work. And it's really more about how you set up your arrow bar than it is about the flashers. So I don't know if this was factory. I like to think it was. Whelen has a history of making what you ordered. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please go on over and take a look at the channel I referenced. Look at my other videos, like and subscribe. And if you'd like to purchase or sell any equipment, there's a separate contact here. Thanks for watching and have a great day.